Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another broadcast of the Thousand Oaks Council on Aging. Would you all please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Francine, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Borghi?
Here.
Commissioner Kam? Here. Commissioner Norkin?
Here.
Commissioner Shentes? Yeah. Commissioner Silverberg?
Here.
Commissioner Steiner?
Here.
Commissioner Searden is absent. Thank you.
Thank you, Francine. Now we have Betty Berry, who would like to address us and make some announcements. Betty, please.
Thank you, Harry. Didn't get here last month. Now I find out why. You didn't have a meeting, but Happy New Year. A little late. I want to announce 3 seminars that Senior Concerns is doing in February, and then I'd like to tell you a little bit about the new program that I'm doing, and I didn't have time to get it together for you, but I'll be back next month, that's a threat, to give you the packets that go with it. On Tuesday, February 13th, Senior Concerns, Solving the Aging Puzzle Series. We'll have a seminar at Senior Concerns Adult Daycare Center from 7 to 8:30 p.m. It's going to be medication management. And after having done Medicare Part D for 2 years, I think there's a lot of medications out there to be managed. The speaker will be Mr. Anthony Antoli from the Los Robles Hospital. He's a pharmacist up there. For reservations, please call 497-0189. If you are a caregiver for a special needs senior, we will give respite care if you make that request when you make your reservation. Then the Senior Advocate's Office is doing 2 seminars in February, and this is the series called Senior Issues. The first one will be on Wednesday, February 14th, from 3 to 4:30. It's going to be at the Westlake Civic Center, which is at 31200 East Oakcrest Drive. And the subject is Let's Talk Turkey About Credit Cards. Not all credit cards are the same. If you don't read the fine print, you're in trouble. I understand if you read the fine print, you get educated. If you don't, you get experience. I'm going to do this one, and if you need information, call the Advocate's Office at 495-6250. On Wednesday the 21st, I'm going to do a Senior Issues seminar at the Simi Valley Center, which is at 3900 Avenida Simi in Simi Valley, from 1:30 to 3. This is for seniors who need to take their driving license test. Will you pass your next driving test? And I have been contacted by the DMV, and they're sending out one of their educational specialists to be with me at that one. For reservations, you need to call the Simi Valley Center at 583-6363. Last year, the AAA gave us a grant to put together a program called Caring for Aging Loved Ones. And AAA provided the money to buy the materials or to print the materials that we developed. And Senior Concerns gave me 4 months staff time to produce the package. I am going into employers' offices to see if employers will let me come in either before hours or on lunchtime to talk to their employees on the employees' time. Because employers lose a lot of money each year because people need time to go take care of these things. I did one this morning for the Pacific Oaks Credit Union in Camarillo. I did it at 8 o'clock this morning. It was a big success. I hand out a packet that is worth about $15. It has every resource in it in Ventura County, plus resources from the west end of LA County, since we are a border city. The program that we're doing is not just one time come in and let us drop this off and talk to you. I'll come back about once a quarter, either at lunchtime or at 8 o'clock in the morning, and do a different presentation for the employees on their own time. It seemed to go very well this morning. I had 22 people. I think it's a good package, and I will present you each one next month. Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting, Betty. Going over to into the corporate world, the Council on Aging would be, because of some outreach planning that we're doing, would be very interested in a follow-up with you on how that's working. And because we can see, we can visualize doing that and trying to reach if you will, a pre-senior crowd.
Right, and the way I wrote it, the grant was for caregivers.
Yeah.
So, okay, but you can do a lot of things. I wrote it for caregivers who are really, what are they? They're baby boomers.
Yeah.
So this information is also there for the baby boomer.
Good.
And in the audience today, I think I was the only one who was over 62. Any other questions?
Yes.
Cliff?
Because I'm a slow guy, would you repeat the addresses of the two senior issues that you are going to present?
Okay, the first one on February 14th is the one on Let's Talk Turkey about credit cards.
Right.
It's Westlake Civic Center, 31200 East Oakcrest Drive. It's right off Agora Road. And on the 21st of February in Simi Valley, for those who need to take their driving tests, Simi Valley Senior Center, 3900 Avenida Simi. It's just off Tackle Canyon. Yes.
Yeah, I would also commend to our viewers this driving course, and even as a minimum the sample question booklet that goes with it. My wife and I used it extensively, and I think we both passed and without any wrong.
Very good. Very good. We need to keep the seniors on the road. They don't have other means of transportation, but we have to make sure they're safe. Okay, if no other questions, I'll be back next month.
Thank you, Betty. You know you're always welcome here.
Thank you.
And before we move on to our speakers for today, I'd like to make a few remarks. The Commission has just lost one of its members, Judy Gosson. She served for almost 6 years. She resigned to be near her 100-plus-year-old mother who had a traumatic accident recently and had been moved from Thousand Oaks to an assisted living facility in Loma Linda. Judy's mother, Marguerite, was a favorite viewer of this program. We hope she will recover from her accident. Today's program is about disaster preparedness, what to do before disaster strikes and how to cope with one after it strikes. For speakers, we are pleased to present Graham Watts, the City of Thousand Oaks Preparedness Manager, who administers the City Preparedness Program, manages the Emergency Operations Center, responsible for employee training, public outreach, and supports the Community Emergency Response Team, CERT, and coordinates the city response to the emergency. We also have with us Don Wall of the Ventura County Emergency Preparedness Staff. Don also served as a corpsman in the U.S. Army. Since I'm pinch hitting for our ailing program commissioner, Jim Searden, and we wish him a speedy recovery, I do not have more information about him, so I will leave it up to him to provide the missing information. And without further ado, let's have the Graham Watts take the stand.
I think I'll stay at the staff table if that's okay. Chair Norkin and members of the board, it's my pleasure to be here today to give you a quick overview of the city's program on emergency preparedness. It's always a pleasure to be before you, as well as to partner with one of our sister agencies, the County Public Health Department. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of some of the functions of the city in terms of emergency response and where that comes into play in relation to preparedness and response. As you may know, every city and county in California, and for that matter throughout the nation, have prepared programs and training for emergency response. In California, we have a model program. There is no doubt it's one of the top, is the top program in the nation in terms of emergency response. That SEMS or NIMS environment, known as Standard Emergency Management System, coordinates through multi-agency coordination, ensures that we have mutual aid support. When a city is overwhelmed, they look to another city for support. The state and county operate as lead agencies. The city is not the lead agency. Many people think that we are, but we are not. We work through the sheriff's department, the fire department, the public health department. Now, there may be an instance where the city is the lead agency, but it's not too often. We're usually just the partner taking care of city services and infrastructure. The cities and special districts work through the county to ensure all those needs are addressed. And whether it's a city, county, public health, or no matter how big or small the incident is, we all operate fall into five sections, and that includes management, operations, logistics, finance, and planning and intelligence. These are the sections known as operational sections for SEMS, the Standardized Emergency Management System, which has since gone to a national response system. Next slide, please. To give you a picture of the city's layout, we, as I said, work through the County Office of Emergency Services. Below that, you'll see the Thousand Oaks Police Department and the Ventura County Sheriff's Department. We contract for police services. We also work through the Ventura County Fire Protection District. They are two primary safety agencies. And below that, you'll see the city's Emergency Operations Center. And then we have a predetermined list of key staff as part of our city emergency response team. Key employees that have specific roles in responding to any type of emergency as part of our emergency response program and our emergency operations center here at City Hall. And once again, the planning sections are finance, logistics, management, operations, and planning intelligence. So we have key people in each of those sections. That is the city's structure. The county structure is somewhat similar, but a little more complicated, and perhaps Dan will tell you a bit about that. But once again, you have the state through a regional operational area. Below that, you'll have the County Office of Emergency Services, Sheriff's Department, and then below that, I've listed just 3 agencies, but there are many county agencies. Fire Department, Public Health, Environmental Health, and many other all work through the County Office of Emergency Services. And then below that, you'll see cities, special districts, American Red Cross, and I would say if there was another line, you'd say commissions and special appointed groups would be below cities, or in that case, special districts such as school or water districts. That gives you the emergency response structure. I thought it was important to give you that perspective so that you'll see where we come into play in terms of emergency response and for some of the information that Dan's going to present to you. For local resources, we have a lot of information on our city website. My phone number is listed as 449-2453. We also have a very active disaster assistance response team managed through the Thousand Oaks Police Department. The Community Emergency Response Team is very active. We have ongoing classes for that. That's offered through the Ventura County Fire Department and the City of Thousand Oaks. And then we have an outstanding RACES program, which is Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Services. When the phones go down, RACES goes to work, and they do an outstanding job. And as always, we rely on one of our most reliable agencies and partners, the American Red Cross. They provide ongoing training and support 24 hours a day, every day. And so they're a great partner to the city. So with that, I'll pass the torch on to Mr. Dan, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Chair Norton, thank you for inviting us today, the Public Health Department and the Emergency Preparedness Office. Questions come up to the listeners and the viewers and yourselves. How prepared are we on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm not looking for an answer. It's just something you personally have to ask yourself. After today's presentation, you'll be able to identify types of hazards that threaten the county area. You should be able to recognize how prepared you are at home, in your car, and at work to respond to disasters. Disasters, we have to first talk about what kind of disasters we have in the county. There's a couple of different types. Naturally, when you think of disasters, you think of natural disasters. But we also have the issue now with terrorism, with human-caused disasters. So natural disasters are the laundry list, the earthquakes, fires, floods, landslides. We've seen a lot in our county in the last few months. Flooding and landslides, these are not pictures of our county, but We know that it's recently rained. We can think of La Conchita. There are a lot of issues with flooding and landslides. After the Day fire, there will be issues with landslides, possibly. Snow and wind storms in our county. We certainly have had some winds, the Santa Ana winds, snowstorms in the higher elevations of our county. We also have the issue, or the looming issue, of the possibility of an earthquake. We live in Southern California. Fires. This is not a picture of the Day fire, but you could probably have taken a picture much like this of the Day fire. Disease outbreaks. Later on, I'll field questions regarding H5N1 or bird flu, if they should arise. Now we go on to human-caused disasters. Human-caused disasters, transportation accidents, civil disorder. We can go down through the list. The bottom one is probably first and foremost on many people's minds because it's a current event. When we talk about hazardous materials, people say, well, not in Ventura County, but you don't have to look too far to find how many chemical companies we have, the oil field industry, and a lot of hazardous materials do exist in our county, so they are an issue that we have to deal with. Terrorism, not in little old Ventura County, hopefully, but it is an issue that we are very aware of and preparing for. Transportation accidents, we had the flight off the coast in recent years that you can look to for that. Civil disorder is always a possibility in the metropolitan area. Power outages are always also an issue. So how can you prepare? Emergency preparedness. I said your home, your car, and your workspace. We're going to look through them. We're going to assess them. Let's start with assessing. Assess your environment. What is safe and what is unsafe? Where are our evacuation or escape routes? We came into this room today. How many people in the room? And any room you ever go into, you should probably ask, where is the exit? How do I get out? And where should we all meet after something occurs? It's always a question you should have, and you should know the answer already. What supplies would you need, or what supplies do you need? Mitigation or making a plan. Mitigation is how you're going to plan prior to survive or get beyond the outcomes. How will you make your environment safe? Are things bolted to the wall? Do you have strong, sturdy shoes? These kind of things. How will you communicate with necessary people? We'll get more into that in a moment. What supplies will you purchase? How will you change what you already have? What do you already have in your garage at home that can help you in a disaster? How will you store and keep these supplies fresh? Do you check them? And remember also, and later, the next speaker will actually be talking about the last bullet point on there, is remember to include pets in your planning. We talk about we want to be able to communicate or have phone lists of people that we could contact. One of the thoughts that comes to mind, and we've kind of fleshed out of the issues that came up with Katrina, is have family member contacts, but also have a phone number of somebody that you will call from out of state. Because it may be that all of our phones don't work here, but you could call a relative and everyone in your family or related to you could call and say to somebody out of state, we're safe, and then it would be a designated person. So that's kind of a new concept in just having one, you need to have a phone list, two, you need to have a point of contact out of your area, should it just be a local disaster. So let's move on to what supplies should you have stored at home. The recommendation from FEMA, from the different agencies like Red Cross, are that you should have at least a gallon of water per person per day to last for 1 week. And also extra for pets. I would think that the humans and pets, you should carry the 1 gallon rule for pets also, but she'll talk about that as the next feature. Also, water purification. There are kits available in different stores. Also, 1 week supply of food. Now, 1 week supply of food, if you're capable, this is just a baseline, if you're capable of beyond that, you probably should look beyond that. We're at the Public Health Department suggesting that a 2-week supply of food would be a sufficient amount. A flashlight per person, and knowing where those flashlights are centrally located within your house or at your place of work. Trash bags and duct tape. There are a laundry list. The Family Disaster Supply Kit the American Red Cross puts out on their website is an excellent source for a checklist. Other additional supplies, National Weather Service Radio. They are available at Radio Shack. This is not a pitch for Radio Shack, but they cost about $50. They are linked to the emergency alert system. Should every bit of infrastructure be obsolete, be encumbered or not working, a weather service radio would work, and you would be able to hear all the pertinent emergency information over that. So it would be a suggestion that you would buy one of those for your home. What supplies should you have stored in your car? Now this is a new idea. If you're out driving your car and you break down on the side of the road, all of a sudden it's a very good idea. We at the Public Health Department have what you call a go bag. A go bag goes in the trunk of your car and has the following things: food and water, first aid, a charged cell phone if you have one, flashlights, blankets, warm clothes to change into, comfortable walking shoes. If you are a female and you wear high heels to work, you should have comfortable walking shoes in your car, so at all times you would be able to access them. And prescription medications. Now that may want to be at the top of the list for a lot of the viewers, but the prescription medications are a very important thing that they found in the after action from Katrina that we really need to be aware of. If you're on a medication, you need to request additional medications possibly from your doctor so that you can store them in the event there's a disaster. You won't have to go without them. These things you should have in the trunk of your car. What supplies should you have at work? And these are supplies in addition to your work site's supplies. You should be responsible personally. You should have food and water. You should have personal hygiene items, plastic bags with twist ties. There's a laundry list of things, and I'll refer back to the American Red Cross site. But again, we see comfortable walking shoes, a flashlight, a blanket, and prescription medications. All of this information that we've talked about in the few minutes here is all available on the American Red Cross's website. Ventura County American Red Cross has a substantial list of checklists on their site, and they have access to, and they're very, very good at disaster management. They've been through it many, many times. They were at Katrina and they know. So that basically, in a nutshell and very quickly, is my presentation. I would like to ask if there are any questions. Yes, sir.
Yeah, on your, very early in the presentation, I guess in Graham's presentation, he noted, you know, the structure of the city emergency operations structure. I'm just wondering, maybe it's a simple answer. You've got the police department, you got the fire department. Okay, on the ground, when a call has to be made in terms of go left or right, who's ultimately in charge at the top that says you got to do this or you got to do that?
Well, it always depends on the situation, but if it becomes a local issue, it goes through the city manager, who operates as the director of emergency services for the city, who will be in consultation with the fire department, the police department, and the sheriff's office. So ultimately, it's the decision of the city manager, who will obviously consult with the city council and a number of other people, but so it goes directly to the city manager.
What if it was general county?
Then the county operates through that same structure in consultation with other cities. He or she makes a decision based on countywide need from a county perspective, but ultimately it's the sheriff, county sheriff.
So the county sheriff is the
county director of emergency
county director
services.
of emergency.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Dan, thank you very much. A lot of very good information. I had one question. You said that we were preparing for a terrorism attack. Could you just take a few minutes to tell our audience what kind of preparations we're going to?
We at the county always look at and we exercise the different current events. When you talk about terrorism, you look at our county and you have to look at it from a different perspective. And the perspective is this: you have to look at the fact that we have a deep water port. We have issues in our county. We have large Amgen, we have chemical companies, we have points of interest in our county that would be strategically relevant. And so we have to, the sheriff's OES, the public health department, looks at all the different threats and does a threat assessment, and they determine which ones we need to practice should an event occur, which ones we need to practice talking over and how we would deal with any given event. And so on an ongoing basis, we practice different, or we do different exercises to talk about what types of communication would occur and what types of resources come to bear.
I have a question. In case we have an earthquake, I'm sure the electrical power will be interrupted, and even cell phones won't work because the towers won't have power. So I guess what I'm asking is, how soon would the races be in effect to take the communications?
I know that from the public health department, anytime we have an exercise or a drill, they are right alongside of us, exercising with us. In any given 6-month period, we have an exercise or a drill, and they are practicing along with us. Their response time, and I don't want to go out on a limb and say, but I believe it was less than 24 hours, that they would be set up right alongside Sheriff's OES, public health, or whatever entities are involved. And they go out to all the hospital facilities, and they have a very pervasive information network.
I think that type of information is necessary so that people will know they will not be out of communication in case of such emergencies.
Yes, sir.
Are there any more questions?
Yeah, Dan, I assume that hospitals and other emergency facilities do have diesel generator backup.
Yes, sir.
To what extent do you think that's a good thing for people to have? And do they have to meet some kind of requirements to have that in their house? Some kind of code requirements?
Well, I know from recently talking with long-term care facilities, according to their mandates, which would be Title 22, they are mandated to have a backup generator. Hospitals are mandated to have a backup generator. The Public Health Department and Sheriff's OES and a lot of the infrastructure all have backup generators. As far as a personal preparedness from your home perspective, you can legally, you have to have the obviously approved switching system, but you can have your home set up where you could have a generator in your garage, and it requires an electrician and a lot of there's code requirements with it, but you can have your home set up where it would have a backup generator, yes.
Would you care to guess what something like that might cost?
That's a very good question.
Offhand.
I wouldn't know how to answer that.
Dan, I have a question. Thanks again for coming. You know, every time the both of you come, we always learn something more. But my question is about the people that are living at home and that might be on ventilators and different types of systems. Is there anything, any part of the planning that's going into that, and how would you do an outreach to those people? Because I know that they have a battery system when they're on a that's, I think it's for 2 or 3 hours for a ventilator, but what happens after that?
Well, the County Public Health Department has a vulnerable populations group. It is attended by the majority of the vulnerable populations, special needs, stay-at-home, elderly, the skilled nursing facilities. They all have looked at these issues, and they have a planning group that is meeting regularly to really look at these issues, because Katrina did teach us certain things, and those certain things are, it's very clear that we need to know where all of our people on ventilators are. There's going to be more information coming from the Public Health Department and the Vulnerable Populations Group regarding this subject, because it's a very important issue.
Yeah. Is there a number for a family or someone to call at this point so that they could get hooked into some sort of a system that they would feel comfortable with at this point?
I can't speak for the county in general, but I do know that there are numbers they can call. I don't know if we possibly can get the slide back up with Graham Watts for the City of Thousand Oaks individuals. And then I can provide information also, contact information to you.
Okay. Because a lot of people can't afford, the other, systems themselves. They're just living on fixed incomes or whatever.
Right.
And there's a lot of disabled people out there that need help,
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And, that brings up a thought. Back in my slides, we talked about, everybody needs to get a gallon of water and we need to get all these supplies. I don't want to mislead people to say you need to go out and spend a large amount of money at the store today. But over a period of time, if you buy a little bit extra every time you go shopping with regard to emergency supplies, eventually you will have a sufficient supply up. So the sooner you get started, the better.
Yeah. And I guess that leads me to another question about the persons that might be living alone on limited incomes, and that could be seniors or just disabled people, and then they really don't have other people involved in their care. They're just taking care of things themselves, but really cannot get all these things together. Is there a program that might be developing that would create, let's say, a volunteer program that would be developing to put together some of these items to get them ready and pass them out to people of that level? Is there anything like that?
Well, that's actually a very good point, and that's one of the ideas that we're actually pursuing or looking at and finding ways to shadow other members of the community, find some qualified trained volunteers to work with some of the seniors or shut-ins and a variety of different things. So we haven't formalized anything yet, but some of our volunteer groups, as I have listed, perhaps TOTV could post the current PowerPoint slide. You'll see that we have some outstanding volunteer groups already. All this information is available by phone call to myself or through the website. Keep in mind that each city has some form of DART program or CERT program. These are all countywide. They all coordinate with each other, police and fire, and it's only getting bigger and stronger, and one of their focuses will be to work with seniors of that type.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
Are there any more questions? Go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, I wondered, when you talk about a preparedness kit, is there available a preparedness kit that at least has those basic items that you listed that everyone ought to have?
Best way to answer that would be the American Red Cross on their website. They have links, and if you don't have website access, I think we should refer back to the local resources within Thousand Oaks. That would be Graham's contact information. The American Red Cross website really has a plethora of information. If you want to get a preparedness kit that you just want to purchase and put in the trunk of your car, they have that, all the way to sources for all of the different supplies that I've mentioned.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Go ahead.
A couple of questions for you, Dan. Do you have the URL for the American Red Cross site at all? And are you familiar with, I think it's called ready.gov? Isn't that another valuable access site? Because I've never been on it, but I've heard a lot about it on TV and stuff.
If I could just mention, yes, I'm sure we can get that to you, but also if the handbook I provided to you has all the websites and phone numbers of all those types of agencies, but I'm certainly, I'll look for the American Red Cross. I think it's pretty straightforward.
And Tony, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about this possibility of volunteers. I don't know of any particular organization that's dealing with that issue, but that's a good point, and I don't even know who to go to try to find that out.
The Red Cross website is actually www.redcross.org. The volunteers, speaking to volunteers in Citizen Corps, we are going to be rolling out a rendition of Citizen Corps within the county. You will hear about it in the next 6 months. We're doing a lot of work with the ministerial groups within the county to make that happen. So there will be more information from the Public Health Department regarding volunteering in general.
Well, volunteering in general, but this is a very specific need, and I, quite frankly, had never thought about it before. The idea of having volunteers assist seniors in developing these kits or supplies at their home so that they're ready for emergencies.
And that's
Is this going to be part of this Citizens Corps that you're aware of?
I'm not sure. I do know this. I do know that the community emergency response teams that Graham has referred to do a lot of work with the community, and we look forward to the further efforts that they're going to bring regarding how I certainly think that it could be entertained that they would take that on as a task.
I don't think DART or CERT currently do that. They're prepared for emergencies and assist in emergencies, but I don't think they take proactive steps to assist seniors in developing these or assembling these kits to prepare them, do they?
Well, they may do that in isolated cases, but there's no formal program in place, and that's really what public health is looking to kind of lead in. So we're at the beginning stages of doing something like that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you both for coming and sharing your information with us. It was very, very informative, and I guess it opened up some new avenues of thought. And I'd like to next introduce our next speaker. So many people have pets or may own horses, and disaster preparation would not be complete without addressing the care of these animals during and after a disaster. To tell you about this, we have Tony Hansen, who is experienced in caring for animals as a result of a disaster. Tony Hansen, an animal lover and a 20-year real estate veteran serving the Conejo Valley and surrounding areas, continues to fight towards ending animal misfortunes. This animal lover devotedly strives to raise animal rights awareness by supporting and promoting groups like the Humane Society of the United States, Canine Abortion Rescue League, and was instrumental in developing a group of caring professionals called Community Animal Response and Evacuation, CARE, focused on evacuating people and their companion animals in the event of disasters. Tony?
Thank you very much, and thank you very, very much for having me here. This program, I do want to let you know that, number one, this is the only program of its kind. This website has been designed especially for evacuating your pets with you as your as a pet owner. When I saw those horrible pictures when Katrina hit, Katrina has taught us many things, but I was devastated. I have 4 pets. They're all rescues, and I was sitting on the couch just devastated. I couldn't even breathe. To think that you had to leave your pet behind. Remember, if it's not safe for you, it's certainly not safe for your pets. One of the pictures I remember seeing is this little boy getting on the bus and somebody grabbing his little dog away from him, and the kid lost his house, lost his family, and now his pet was being taken away, and with the last clip, watching the little dog follow the bus. That broke my heart. I also remember another picture where a dog took somebody out of the water and swam them to shore, and which wasn't shore, was higher ground, and the man just walked away and left the dog by himself. That was another thing that just broke my heart. So to start this, I wrote a poem. I'm sorry, I still get very emotional about this. And the poem reads, I seek you out of burning buildings. I pull you out of raging waters. I will protect you from intruders, and without hesitation, I will lay my life down for you. I will keep you safe. I am there when you're sad and happy when you're glad. Never criticize. I always love you without question and unconditionally. Yet in times of trouble, you leave me. You leave me on my own. Do you ever look back? I was taught to rescue and recover people either dead or alive. I fight alongside of you in times of war and on the streets. And all I want in return from you is love. Yet in times of trouble, without a thought, I'm left behind. Am I that easy to forget? Don't let this happen to your pet, because after all, pets are family too. Because things are supposed to happen, after I read this, I was in touch with David and June Roberti. David was a senator in this state. He was the first animal advocate. They put me in touch with Gretchen Weiler, who was the vice president of the United States, the Humane Society in Hollywood. She's a wonderful animal advocate and has been working there for many years. Together with her and some of the people that did go down to Katrina and actually rescue animals, and all the pictures on the website are from actual pictures from Katrina. We got a couple of really caring people online, and it's just amazing. Because after Katrina, I'm sure everybody will remember it, we watched the media expose, reveal, and see the pain, the sadness, which millions of people experience when left powerless, unable to help their companion animals. But you know, our neighborhood now stands ready, thanks to an inspired, compassionate group of local people, community, animal response, and evacuation group known as CARE. A new website has been launched. The website is evacuatemypet.com. It has all the trimmings to lure you and continue to explain and review, inform, and generally take you by the hand and show you how to prepare now. Evacuate My Pet explains the importance of microchipping, crate training, plus a dozen life and time-saving helpful hints for you and your pet. You need not live in Ventura County to benefit from this website. The website includes links to help other counties begin their own care group and to encourage new groups to link on to our website, which is evacuatemypet.com. The care group is thrilled to announce that the American Red Cross has endorsed the website and is fully supported by the Humane Society of the United States, which is the nation's largest animal protection organization with over 10 million members. Also, the Conejo Unified School District endorses evacuating your pet and also will distribute flyers. Please visit our website today, and our website is now on TV, so please look at it. Our pets are counting on us. After all, pets are family too. And I'd like you to look at the website right now, where it says disasters are imminent. See, pets are family too, and as the last people did say, the fires, floods, earthquakes, terrorist attacks, disasters are imminent. Don't wait till tomorrow. And you know, one thing we all should learn, that although the county entities are here, we're so much more than they are. So you have to be prepared yourself. Take responsibility for yourself and your pet. If you don't feel that you have the capacity, as much as you love animals, to care for one, then go visit one, but don't keep one. As a pet owner, here's 12 wonderful, easy tips for you to look at. And we always say prepare now. Remember, pets are family too. We also have, for Spanish-speaking people, a Spanish version. I can't put it on here now, but all you have to do is click here, and the Spanish version will pop up. The next one is a family pet disaster. Hurricane Katrina taught us that disasters are unpredictable. You know, they could hit anybody, anytime, anywhere. And disasters are much larger on any scale and impact your life much, much more than anybody could ever. I mean, I remember the earthquake, and I shook way more than the earthquake did. So give your beloved pet a gift of forethought. If you go down here, do you see where pet disaster planning is? It will give you everything you need to prepare for your pets. When you prepare before a disaster, after a disaster hits, you won't panic as much. I guarantee it. Well, maybe not. Okay. Emergency pet supplies. Now, this will tell you everything we need, and the people right before us told us so much. First, we put medications. Some pets are on medications. We say 2 weeks. If you could get more than 2 weeks, that would be great. Copies of the health records and a photograph of your pet. Pet food, dry food, and don't forget, if you have canned food, We may not have electricity. You have to have that manual can opener. Water, and like they said, for 1 week, I suggest 2 weeks. And pet first aid kits. The Humane Society does sell them, but I'm sure after you read all this, you could put your own together for very low cost. Microchipping is very important, and the next slide will show you that. Microchipping is, let me tell you something, as the people before you said, they talked about having your friend or somebody in your family from another state, another county, if like San Diego or Orange County, have the pet at the chip planted in your pet with your somebody else's in a different county or a different state name on it as much as yours, so that they will always find out where you are. And then you could call that person, they'll tell you where your pet is if it ever gets away. Collars will sometimes get ripped off, and you know those cute little tags? Well, I have 2 little dogs that just ate their tags. So they're not as good as you might think they are. You could go to any vet, you could go to the pound, the dog pounds, and they will put chips in for very little money. And the most important thing with the chip is not good unless you register it. It's very inexpensive to have it registered. Your dog will then get, or cat, not a tortoise, would get scanned, and it'll tell you exactly where the dog belongs, or the cat. And I'm sure it's not for birds, but anyway. So onward and upward. Emergency signs, it's a very important thing. First responders, when they come to your house, they're going to knock on your door, and and if they don't know that you have dogs, cats, birds, or lizards, or a snake, or whatever, if you don't put that on your door to let them know that they're there, it's really important to know what you have in your house. And also, if you're not home, to have somebody in your neighborhood or somebody that you know to go and get your animals out if you can't get home. That's another thing. Also have a wallet card made that you put it in your wallet. If something happens to you, you get in a car accident or, God forbid, have a heart attack, somebody could get to your house and take care of your pets while you're there, while you can't get to them. On here we have a couple of links that will have a window sign and a pet record form. So if you push on there, you could get your signs right from this website. Let's see, crate training. Now, this is a very interesting subject and was very interesting to me because I always thought that if I put my animals in a crate, that would be like putting them in jail, you know, or in the pound or something like that. But then I started to think about it, and somebody put it in a very, very easy. Bears, wolves, coyotes, rabbits, and I'm sure squirrels, they all burrow in or make dens for themselves. And I have, my dogs I have this crate, and they all go in there, and they love it. It's like their little crate. It's like their little den. So instead of a crate, I call it a den. So that doesn't make me feel bad, but it makes them happy. On the top of the crate, put their name, pictures of your dog, your address, your phone number, and if you can, any records of medication or even your vet's number. That would be great. If something happens that you could not get to them or you were separated by any means, this will always keep you informed and where your pet is, and also keep them safe and comfortable. If you get them comfortable right away, they won't look at it as punishment. The other, right here, we now have, I think you guys were asking, what do we do, who do we call? If you do not have, if we do not have phone service, the best thing is to get one of those battery-operated radios. At 1520 AM, KVTA will always have something going on regarding a disaster. Also, the American Red Cross, who is working with us, put up this number. And that if you have phone service, you could dial 211, and they will tell you what's going on with ongoing disasters. And, of course, the Ventura County Animal Regulations is on this website. Thousand Oaks Residents and Los Angeles Animal Control. And don't ever forget the livestock, such as horses, cows, llamas, whatever you have. They're all family. Evacuate My Pet is a very easy website to get to. All you do is, you don't even have to put www in. Evacuate My Pet. Now, if you do not have a computer, or you're not computer literate, then you could go to your vet and ask him to print it out. You could go to the library, you could go to the Global Center, and they will print. This is all printable. It's easy for you to get. So again, if you want to start a care group, please go to About Us, and we are Community Animal Response and Evacuation. We have it all done for you. All you need is a couple of really caring people to get involved and link up to us and put your numbers down. We really appreciate this, and I totally appreciate you letting me be here. Remember, it's evacuatemypet.com.
Thank you very much for your informative talk on animals and how to take care of them during a disaster. Does the Commission have any questions for Tony? Go ahead, Gene.
I just had one short question. Where do we register the microchip information?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, because a lot of people don't even know that. Usually your vet will give you, when you get or you could go to the Agoura Pound or the Ventura County Pound, they will give you a form. Okay, now if you have more than two, it's $15 for one pet, and then it's less for two or something like that. And you could you send it out to wherever that particular, whichever chip they used. All of them are pretty universal, so no matter if you got yours from Ventura County Animal Shelter and your dog got away, and this happened to my vet actually, and he had put his chip in and the dog got away someplace, and they turned him in a emergency, and he was swiped and they got returned to the vet right away. So you get that right then. When they chip them, they give you a piece of paper. They usually, the vets, and I'm sure the animal control, they have the dog's name, your address, and I would suggest that you put somebody out of town on it too with their phone number, and then you just mail it away. They tell you where to mail it. Okay. And they also, I think, give you a self-addressed envelope.
Thank you very much.
Any more questions? Yes.
Tony, very few states have evacuation shelters that accept pets. Two questions, really. Does Ventura County or the American Red Cross, are they working to provide shelters that accept pets as well as people? And secondly, if they do not, is CARE working to do something like that?
Well, I'm very glad you asked, because when I start writing this poem, there was somebody that, and I can't remember his name, he put together, it's called No Pet Left Behind. And this means now that all hotels, because Bush did sign it, all hotels, in the event of a federal disaster, such as an earthquake, or would be a state disaster, all hotels, even if they do not accept the pets, have to accept them now. Yes, CARE, myself and Renee have called we have about 20 hotels. The Westlake Hyatt is one of them, and there's a couple of others that will accept pets in the event of a disaster. Of course, if it's an earthquake, if they're standing.
One other thing, is the American Red Cross, are they looking to have their shelters pet accessible also?
What they're going to do when a disaster happens, because we're not saying if, we know it's when, you call them, they will tell you who, where, and when to go to. They have all that online, and they're updating it every day as we speak.
Tony, oh, sorry. Tony, I have a question in reference to the hotels. I mean, how would somebody get access to that list of hotels when there is a disaster or before?
I'm glad you asked that, Tony, because some of them are pet friendly anyway. But some of the hotels that we talk to, they rather just be on the Red Cross's list. So I believe you call 211, or you call the Red Cross number. That will be ongoing and saying these hotels are available to you. And actually mostly all of the ones in Thousand Oaks and Westlake will be taking. Oh, they're probably going to shoot me when they hear this one, but because they wanted to be anonymous until we did have a disaster. However, mostly all of them. I don't think there was any of them that turned us down. But please, I've got to ask you. Don't say, Tony told me you could go here if it's not a disaster. It has to be a disaster.
Well, we hope a disaster never happens.
Oh, I know.
But it pays to be prepared.
It pays to be prepared.
Are there any more questions? If not, I thank you very much for coming before us and bringing us information.
I really, really appreciate this. This is so important. And remember, pets are family too. And if it's not safe for you, it's not safe for your pet.
Thank you. And now we move on to committee assignments. Is there any report on health?
Yeah, I just have a couple of things. And one Betty already mentioned, and that is the medical management a seminar that's going to be offered at Senior Concerns on February the 13th from 7 to 8:30. And if you're interested, please call Senior Concerns and get on their list so that you can attend this wonderful seminar. And then the other is Senior Concerns Shuttle has started. It's a new service for seniors who have medical appointments at the Kaiser Permanente in Woodland Hills, and it started February the 1st, and it's being offered on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the cost will be $20 per person round trip. Reservations are required 1 week prior, and the shuttle departs from Senior Concerns in Thousand Oaks. And for information, please call 805-341-8004. Okay? And then a couple other things I want to mention real quickly. I want to remind you about the stroke support group that's ongoing here in Westlake at the East Campus of the Los Robles Hospital in Westlake. And if you have had a stroke, or if you're a caregiver of someone who's had a stroke, so it's for stroke survivors and for their caregivers, and it's on Wednesdays, and it's from 2:30 to 4, and the number to call is to call Richard Randall, and it's 805-498-2632. And one other thing, and that is if you're having a problem for whatever reason getting out and doing shopping on your own, there is a wonderful service that's provided in our area, and it's called Shop Ahoy. It's a nonprofit service, and it's run by volunteers, and they will, for a small fee, like $3 for orders up to $20.50 for more orders after up to $30, and they will shop for groceries for you and deliver them to your house for free. And so the number to call is 805-659-1530. Wonderful service, and actually they cover almost all of the county. Okay. And I guess that's all I have to say, other than remember 211 for any of your questions. If you don't know where to contact any of these services, you can always call 211. It's a Health and Human Services line. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Is there a report on housing? I guess not. Move on to programs and public information. Any report? I guess not. Outreach. I guess there's a report for outreach.
Thank you, Harry. Yeah, I'm happy to report that the outreach committee has been meeting regularly. 4 members, myself, Gene Borghi, Jim Searden, and Tony Kam. We have been working on on developing the outline of our program that we will ultimately present to the City Council sometime in April to request approval of our program and the budget that will go with it. The PowerPoint, a PowerPoint script, a PowerPoint presentation has been developed. We have gone through it during one of our committee meetings, and there is a script that goes along with it that has also been developed, and we have gone through that. So that we're in pretty good shape that way. What I would like to do is just again mention some of the, now that things are taking shape, but at least in a preliminary fashion, just preview briefly some of the items that will that make up the highlights of the plan. We're going to be requesting approval of a plan that will meet current and projected needs of Thousand Oaks senior adults. We're going to use these activities as building blocks to prepare a needs assessment and a senior adult master plan. We're going to recommend that to the council, City Council, that we do conduct the outreach and the needs assessment and prepare this plan. The outreach activities will feature a speakers bureau. That is the centerpiece of the program. And during these, the speakers bureau will go to designated senior venues, and we will set up a priority of those, and hopefully we'll start to do those in another month or so, certainly starting around April. We are developing the Speakers Bureau and the program in cooperation with and partnership with the Global Senior Center, and the staff director is interested in working on this program with us, and we will work together so that we can integrate the work of the Global Center and the Council on Aging during our visits. During these visits, we will have a one-page survey for the seniors to fill out. Another highlight of our program is we will be forming a senior focus group of seniors and even baby boomer pre-seniors, and these focus groups hopefully will provide us with the key input for developing this plan, the outreach plan and the senior adult master plan and our strategies. So in effect, we will be inviting the senior community to be a part of this, so they in fact can say this is their plan. And the more seniors and pre-seniors that we can have participate in the focus group will, of course, the better the plan will be, we believe. By far, our biggest challenge will be to understand, identify, and plan for the needs of the accelerating growth of our baby boomer population and the impact on the community. Many agencies and localities, municipalities within the county and the state are now looking at how to deal with this. So we are clearly breaking new ground, and as we get information, of course, we will have to learn as we go along and then make adjustments. The plan will be a multi-year effort. It'll be a work in progress. We will have performance tools, performance indicators that will allow us to assess our progress throughout as we move along to see if, in fact, we are reaching the goals. And so the Council, the Committee on Aging and the Council on Aging will set up what these indicators are so that we can, in fact, measure this and annually report to the Council on the progress that we are making. I believe that that pretty much gives you a call. I should also mention another important part of the program activities, which are really underway, is the continuing development of our website as a tool by which those seniors and pre-seniors who have access to the Internet can get a significant amount of information and can, in fact, even respond to the website. There'll be an area where they can actually give us their input, tell us their concerns and their needs, and so this will be another way of doing this, another facet of the program. So at this point, given the work that we've done and the progress we've made and where I believe the committee stands ready to move ahead, I would like to entertain a motion that the Council on Aging give the Outreach Committee approval to continue on towards the presentation of to the Council sometime in April.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second the motion.
Second by Gene. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Senior of the Year. While we don't at the present have a chair, we are going to send out the applications for nominations for the seniors during the month of February. So I'd like to make let all of the senior activities know that they will be soon forthcoming, and that we ask that each activity please only nominate one candidate, because it attracts some other candidates if you nominate more than one. We want the best candidates from each activity. And moving on to transportation. Is there any report on transportation?
Yes, I have a report. I'd like to emphasize what Tony mentioned before about the shuttle to the Kaiser Center. This was a high priority item for those people that have insurance with Kaiser, the ability to get down to the valley. It's only been in existence now for 2 days, and I want to remind everyone that this is a trial program for 1 year, and it depends pretty much on the ridership. So please, those people who are listening, remind your friends, your acquaintances, that this capability now exists, and take advantage of it. That's all.
Thank you. I'd like to add to that the fruition of the program, getting the bus to Kaiser from Thousand Oaks, was the brainchild of one of our past commissioners, Jim Caniglio, and I think most of the success of that is due to his efforts. Okay, legislation. Do we have any report on legislation? I guess not. And now we come to fraud.
Well, once again, I keep hearing that identity theft is the fastest growing crime in the country. And I know, as a result of all of our sessions, that you have been carefully shredding any pieces of paper that have your social security number, bank account numbers, credit card numbers. I'm sure you're doing that. I'd like to add one more thing. We probably should be shredding our utility bills. It seems that there are organizations that will accept a utility bill as proof of residence, proof of home ownership, and you don't want to get that information into a thief's hands. So I would recommend strongly you shred those items as well. And shredding is becoming a very popular thing. I see shredders coming out onto the market all the time, and you can buy a shredder for as little as $20 and to well over $100. And the basic difference is how many pieces of paper you can shove through that machine at a time. So if you have a lot of papers that you'll be shredding, you probably want to buy a more expensive machine. But if you only have a few pages, maybe half a dozen at a time, you could get along with a very inexpensive machine. The type of machine you should get is called a cross-cut shredder, or sometimes called a confetti-type shredder, as opposed to a strip shredder, which just pulls out papers in a strip. It's getting to the point now where you can hardly find a strip-type shredder. Most of the shredders on the market today do cut your paper up into little pieces of confetti. So I recommend if you don't have one, you should get one. And remember, you shred everything that has any kind of identity information on it. Thanks, Harry.
Thank you, Martin. It appears that every time you turn around, there's a new scheme for stealing something from everybody, and I don't know how we can keep on top of it unless we really try to keep on top of it, like finding out what the newest schemes are and broadcasting this information out to our audience. And we do hope you're out there watching and listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, one more thing that Martin didn't mention, and it seems to be a growing concern, and I would like to encourage everyone to consider having a mailbox that has a lock on, so that when the mailman comes and puts your bills in the mailbox, they're secure until you come and get them. It's a good thing to shred all your bills after you've received them, but there is evidence that there are people going around stealing them out of mailboxes before you even get them. So consider that.
Oh, that reminded me of something else. A lot of people, especially in complexes that have community mailboxes, are putting mail in these open boxes for the postman to collect. And anybody that comes along can pick up that mail and whatever in them and use them for their own purposes. So please deposit your mail in a U.S. Post Office box on the street corner or in the shopping centers. Do not deposit them in these boxes in your complexes, because it's an invitation to steal. Okay, hopefully that covers fraud for this broadcast. Moving on to liaison report. Since we lost our Vice Chair Judy Gosson, I'll assume that duty for this broadcast. And first up is AAA, Ventura County Area Agency on Aging. Is there a report from AAA?
Just briefly, Harry, thank you. Just wanted to note that this is the time of the year that the members of the Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council have been visiting the AAA grantees to review their programs and to issue reports on the programs, so that sometime at the end of February, the end of this month, all of the grantees will appear before council members, advisory council members, and so they can evaluate the progress on the grants that the AAA have dispersed. And this is also around that time of the year when the advisory council committees start to look at allocations for existing grants, as well as potentially for new grants that might be in the pipeline.
Question: how does that affect the City of Thousand Oaks or this commission?
The City of Thousand Oaks is affected by a number of grantees within the City of Thousand Oaks, such as Senior Concerns, that in fact get grants from the AAA. Also, many of the services that are listed in our Senior Services Directory, a number of them are grantees with the Area Agency on Aging. Also, our senior nutrition program that probably first and foremost is a major recipient of grant awards for the Global Center lunches, congregate lunches, and that program, of course, because of the cooperation between the council here, the city, and the area agency on aging, the program at the Global Center. For those of us that have been there over the past number of months, we have found that the success of the program is indeed has increased, and I think the number of customers that are coming to the cafeteria, to the lunchroom, are increasing.
Thank you, Mel. And yes, the Marquee Cafe has had some good success, and we hope it continues. Retired Senior Volunteer Program, do we have a report?
We do. Once again, RSVP, in cooperation with the IRS, is providing free income tax assistance. To avail yourself of this service, you have to be either a senior over 60 years of age or someone who has an income of $39,500 or less. The service is available at the Global Senior Adult Center on Thursday and Friday from now until April 13th, from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. No appointments are necessary, and it's first come, first serve. You should have with you a photo ID, your Social Security card, your Social Security benefit statement, that SSA 1099 form, any wages or earning statements you received, any interest and dividend statements you received. If you received a 1099-B form for the sale of stock, be sure you have the information on the purchase price and date of purchase of any stocks on that list. You should have a copy of last year's federal and state income tax returns. If you're getting a refund and want to have direct deposit, bring with you a blank check which has on it your bank routing number and account number, and anything else you think that might be useful. The service does not provide Schedule E assistance nor a business Schedule C assistance.
Thank you. Now that the income tax program at the Global Center is a very successful program, and they have a lot of good trained people to help you. So if you need assistance, please use them. And Global Senior Center, Andrea Koval isn't here for a report. So does anybody have anything you want to? Yes.
Well, the Global Senior Center has a program called Laughter Yoga. It's a Laughter Yoga class held on Mondays from 3 to 4, February 12th to April the 2nd. It's an 8-week course. It costs $74. And on Tuesday, February 13th, 12:30 to 1:30, there will be a lecture called Around the World with Irma Cackert. If you are planning to travel for any reason, this might be a very useful thing for you to attend. No reservations are necessary. There's a 9-ball billiards tournament scheduled for Wednesday, February 14th from 9 to 4 for persons 50 years and up. The fee is $4 per person to play, includes a barbecue lunch. You can register at the Global Center before the 12th. There's a survival training program on Thursday, February the 15th, 12:30 to 2 p.m. Learn what to do in the first 48 hours of a major disaster, a good follow-on to what we heard today. This is presented by the Community Action of Ventura County in cooperation with the American Red Cross. Reservations are required. Call 381-2744. Saturday, April the 21st, from 12:15 to 3:30 is Youth Stamp Day for all ages, and it's free. It's Celebrate Earth Day weekend by traveling around the world through stamp collecting. There'll be prizes, games, exhibits, refreshments, and giveaways, including a free beginner's stamp collecting kit. For further information, call 818-991-5459. And the TO Center, the Global Center's TO Varieties group is looking for a male singer to join their group. They meet every week at the Global Center to rehearse for volunteer entertaining at various sites. If you're interested, call the center, 381-2744.
Thank you, Martin. Is there any old business before this commission? Any new business? If not, move on.
Harry, can I just mention something?
Well, you just a minute. Is there a new business or old business? If it's comments, we'll get to comments in just a moment.
All right.
Now we'll go into comments. Tony?
I just want to remind everybody that February is Heart Month, and so you want to take good care of your heart. And, of course, February 14th is Valentine's Day, so take care of your sweetheart. And if you don't have a sweetheart, be good to yourself. So plan something special for yourself this month so that you have, and one of them could be just grab yourself and hug yourself on Valentine's Day. So have a wonderful month.
Bring chocolate. It's good for your health. As you know, this commission is seeking out ways in which to reach all seniors in the city. We're trying very hard to meet and listen to their concerns. One of the many ways we're trying to reach them is that our monthly meetings are now being held at the Global Center. Our next meeting will be on February 21st at 1 p.m. Please join us there. Don't forget to send us your birthdays, anniversaries, or any family occurrence that you want us to announce on the air. We will announce them on all these telecasts. Once again, we urge all seniors with concerns to contact us, write us, email us, telephone us, however, just tell us. And one other comment. The teens are holding a therapeutic dance for special needs teens 13 and up on March 10th, 2007 at 6:30 p.m. Call 449-2743 for more information. And are there any more comments? If not, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you all.